What a unique tree trunk. This little path carved right through the middle of it. And yet, when you get to this side, it's burned out. So this has been standing here like this as a burned out hulk, obviously for a long, long time, because they built this little walkway through it. Quite amazing, isn't it?
G'day, I'm Roland Hearn and this is a walk in the garden. Today I'm at the beautiful Manarina Park, which is part of the Diagula National Park. And I'm going to take this little walk, Morelia Walking Track, 6 kilometers, and I am going to attempt today to address an issue that I think deserves to be spoken about. While I think all of us intuitively get the struggle that we have with worthlessness, sometimes I think it's worth pointing exactly to a space that works in our life. And I decided in my searching around for a place to video today to come out here to this park. I've never actually been here before. It's one of the great parts about living in the Brisbane area is you have so many of these incredibly beautiful places not far from home. So this is about an hour from where I live, and I've come around the city. It's on the western side of the city. I live on the northern side of the city. But there's this beautiful park, national park, but it's got this track, and I've been wanting to do more exercise as well as a part of my struggling to lose some weight. It's a 6 kilometer track, as you saw on that sign, and I thought, well, why waste all that time with just one video? So what I've decided to do is take this 6 kilometer journey and do 2 videos, basically addressing the same issue, and you can see how well I struggle with this 6 kilometer walk. I assure you, I won't video every moment of it, but if I remember, I'll do the beginning and do the end when I successfully conclude this walk. So anyway, that's why I'm here. So 2 videos set in the same setting, dealing with basically the same issue, one from the perspective of the struggle and the other from the perspective of the solution. Although I won't finish off this first one without at least addressing some of the struggle, some of the solution to the struggle. So, what is the issue that I'm talking about? The big issue is the struggle of shame, and the shame impacts us differently in different ways. And so my journey, my life, my story, my struggle will almost certainly be different from yours, but there will be reflections of similarity in that struggle that you might be able to identify. And so what I thought I would do today then is talk about one of those spaces that worthlessness impacts my life, and extrapolate that, or create a space where you are able to extrapolate that to how that works in your life. Many people that will watch this video will probably not have the same issue, but you'll be able to say, okay, that's how that works in his life. I can see where that might be working in my life. That's the hope anyway. So let me begin by doing this. I want to show you something. See that? That's my driver's license. It proudly says heavy vehicle driver's license. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago when I was at Cedar Creek, I talked about the significant strengthening of my confidence that occurred as a result of learning how to dive off that cliff when I was just a teenager. Well, there's another little story in my life that had a similar impact for me. When I was 19, I decided that I wanted to have a period of my life where I drove trucks for a living, and not just little courier trucks, but proper semi-trailer trucks. And I went and got some lessons, and on my first attempt at getting my semi-trailer driver's license, I achieved it. Had to hill start the track, had to reverse around a corner in a suburban street, had to do numbers of things like that to prove that I could actually have the ability to drive the truck, and I got the license. And not long after that, I used the license to get a job, and did in fact drive trucks for a while for my source of income. And I was quite proud of myself at that age. There weren't many people in the driving industry of my age that were able to drive semi-trailers. So years later, I was going through a difficult part of my life and not really sure what I was to do at that point in time, and looking at different options for my life. And I thought maybe I'll go back to driving trucks. Well, I had my semi-trailers driver's license, but the real money in driving trucks is found by driving B-doubles or road trains, long distance. And I thought, at that particular point in time in my life, I needed something to try and just fill that void in my life of what am I doing with myself. And so I went back, and I had no doubt that I could handle the situation. This is, I'll put up on the screen, this is a B-double, for those that may not know, and this is a road train. Most freight in the interior of Australia is delivered by road train or B-doubles. And so anyway, I got some lessons, and it had been quite a while since I'd driven trucks, but I learned it when I was 19, so I didn't have any doubts that I could do it. And the day of the test came, and I was a little bit nervous, but as I was driving that truck, I had to pull out onto the freeway, and there was came down a ramp to the freeway, and it was fairly busy traffic, and I was feeling a little bit nervous, and I missed my gear change significantly enough that I couldn't, in the brief time, select the gear, and I was in neutral, and it was free rolling, and I scrambled around and ultimately got the situation solved, but that was enough for me to fail the test, and I was crushed. I had lived with this sense of confidence that I could do this, and I was looking at this as an opportunity for my future, or at least for that period of time, and I failed. And sitting in that cabin driving back to the depot, I was mortified deeply ashamed of myself. And quite honestly, I did feel worthless. That failure spoke to a deep inner place of mine where not being able to do that which I thought I should be able to do said something to me about myself. It took away a piece of my identity, something that I held quite strongly, although I didn't realize that, so because I hadn't been driving for years. But I liked the person I understood myself to be able to do these complex tasks and achieve these difficult things. And so that failure attached to my sense of identity. And it said, you're worthless. That's how shame works. It interacts with our experiences and connects with the opinions of others in that experience. For me, I was embarrassed in front of the testing instructor. I was embarrassed to tell my friends and family that I'd failed. I was ashamed of the fact that what I thought was an avenue for my future was taken away from me. Although I subsequently did the test again, and not with the same group, but passed, and my driver's license now says that I'm able to drive up to a road train size track. So I got over it, obviously. But at that point in time, my failure became a part of my identity. And failure has that capacity. It says you are worth less than what you thought you were. And that's where shame begins to operate. Many of us, to fail is so connected with the way we think other people think about us. It brings this sense of worthlessness with it. The shame that rides on the back of failure brings worthlessness with it. Now, as I said, that may not be your experience. So any experience, particularly as it relates to other people, or your understanding or my understanding of what other people, how other people are evaluating us, any experience in that context that seems to diminish our sense of worth, particularly and most profoundly if that experience is directly connected with our own sense of identity, our sense of understanding who we are. If it takes away from our worth at that point, then that will bring shame for us. And so there is these connections for shame between worthlessness, a sense of worthlessness, the experience that brings that sense, and or multiple experiences. It might not just be one experience, it might be many experiences that continually say the same thing across a period of time, which is where shame is most profoundly felt. And then that connected with our understanding of the opinions of others. One of my previous videos, I outlined the pieces of that much more thoroughly. The one that I did at Parisian Beach last year, I outlined that more thoroughly, but I just wanted to connect that with a very practical experience today so that I can look at what the answer is. And of course, the answer is love. To receive love is the healing process for shame. However, shame is so powerful that for many people, when
when we've had those experiences, shame will not allow us to open up to receive the love. We have this impasse where the answer is love, the problem is shame, but shame itself is in the road of us receiving that love. Hold on to the idea that love is the answer to the struggle that you have, that I have, with worthlessness. If you look back through my other videos, you will of course see the ultimate source of love, I am confident, is found in a correct understanding of who God is and how he relates to us. But for now, let's just let that idea that love is the solution to my shame settle in our lives. And let's just allow that to work for us through this next week. Well, until I come back next week, and in fact I'll still be in the same place, just keep walking in your garden. I'll see you then.